starting off with Amazing Friday because we have just this spectacular person joining us, and I just pulled them in. Oh my gosh, thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome.
Hello.
Oh my gosh, how was your show? I know you had to wrap up pretty. Thank you so much for giving us your time. How was your
Oh,
evening?
no problem. I actually canceled that one so that way I could be present here.
Good.
So.
Oh my gosh, thank
Oh,
you.
wow.
Well, this is what I
Yes.
was saying, and I kind of want to quote some words here, but before I do any of that, why don't you do us the pleasure? Can you just introduce who you are to our crew that's joining us, and then I want to use some of your words to inspire some conversation tonight. So, welcome.
Oh, yes, thank you, thank you, thank you. I love the enthusiasm. I love it. I feel it. I feel all the energy. Oh my gosh, yes.
I need you tonight. I really do. So, thank you.
Yes.
We'll get into it.
My name is Lanai Monroe. I am the mother herbal butterfly. I'm a poet. I'm a mom. I'm a lover. I'm a friend. I'm all that in between and all things that we don't understand. So, yeah, I definitely am here to help heal myself by healing through others and just loving life. Just love, life, love, and light. So that's me.
Andy, this is exactly what I was trying to tell you because
Yeah.
you basically said it, Lanai, but I wanted to say one more thing that was kind of on the back of your book that we're going to get into as well in this interview. But you said that the goal for yourself is to spread love back into the core of humanity by being an advocate for self-healing and growth. And just right now, I'm really leaning on you for some wisdom to hear about your journey and how that poetry brings you and all of us together here tonight.
Yes, thank you, thank you, thank you. It's been definitely a journey. My poetry, and to be completely transparent, because you never know who's watching, you never know who's resonating with it. So my journey really started after the separation of me and my kid's father of 10 and a half, 11 years. So I had to really refine myself, figure out who I wanted to be and why I wanted to be that. Why do I want to be a person of just love and light instead of somebody that's like sitting in anger, sitting in regret, sitting in just sorrow? Because I did that for a while and it never suited me and never did anything for me. So I got to the point where I just started digging into my spirituality, and I had an awakening. I was sitting exactly in this spot here. And I'm just thinking, like, I was thinking about everything that I just wanted to do. I want to be a phenomenal mom at the best that I can. I want to break generational curses. I don't want to be, my parents they did the best they could for what they had. But I don't want to be a duplicate, or I just want to be different. I want to be the best mom that I can be. So I sat there and I had a revelation as well as like an awakening. Like, I saw myself in my previous life, and I was a healer. So I'm like, all right, universe and God, thank you for sending that. Now that's what I'm going to be, and that's who I am. So ever since then, I've been working on healing myself. I've been working on, like, I'll talk to people about healing, because nowadays sometimes just conversation is a good seed. Instead of implementing what you do on them, just talk to them, because those little conversations will pop up later in their lives. Like, oh wait, Lanai did say this. Oh, that makes sense. Oh, Lanai did say this. It makes sense. But I want to be sometimes a little whisper of encouragement to people. Whenever you feel down, I get depression is really high nowadays. It's really high. I suffer from it too.
Oh, yeah.
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 I gotta be honest, like, and I don't like to talk about it at all, but like this week, like Monday, just the thought of sitting up was exhausting to where I had to stay in bed, and I've never been in this position where I had to take the whole week off of work, because as the week went on, and I got physically ill, and it was just a lot going on. So again, like, I'm so grateful to have you tonight, because the last time we were having a high, it was last Friday, and then I joined some people we just recently interviewed, again, reaching out to that community. And I think if we're pure of heart, we keep going with this mission of connecting and community. I think no matter what we're going through, we can get through it, because again, you're echoing a lot of things that a lot of us have gone through, and your experience helps. And you've used poetry to find healing, or that just was where it brought you?
So poetry found me when I was 10 years old. My poetry found me when I lost my grandmother. When I lost my grandmother, poetry turned around and was like, come here. And I started digging into it because I was able to express myself without being shunned, shut down, not looked at, not listened to. So I was like, oh my gosh, these pens have the biggest ears and the biggest heart. I love it. I love it. So as I got older, I went through trials and tribulations of just life and being a reckless teenager that was trying to be a rebel. And I stepped away from poetry because I did more speaking than actually writing down. So about once me and my kid's father split, that's when it really came back out, because I just wanted to, and I found the poetry community on Instagram, because I hadn't been on Instagram at all. I refused to be plugged in. I was like, no, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. And then my friend was like, just do it. You can meet people. I was like, at this point, I need it. So yeah. I got into poetry again, fell in love with her again, and we have been inseparable. Sometimes we have breakups where we had to take time from each other to relearn each other, but that is my ride or die right there.
I know Andy's, I'm sure, has plenty of questions for you, but I just have one last one before I give the mic over. I know we love fighting over the mic because we just have such great guests, but you mentioned that your grandmother, her loss is what kind of opened your poet journey. Is it because is that something that spoke from her soul that you connected her with, or just that was just the medium that you found at that time through that process of trying to make sense of it all?
So my grandmother was my safe haven. My grandmother was my only safe space. Okay. I was raised in a family where my mom worked a lot. So my dad was watching us. My dad was an abusive alcoholic. So, and because I look just like, in one of my poems I said, because I look just like my mom, I used to get tortured because of it. I used to get beat. I had to fight my father. And my grandmother was the one thing that saved us from that. So when she left, the veil was gone. The protection was gone. So it was basically save yourself, figure it out. And at that young age, I had memories of my childhood with moments of goodness and everything, but I had to be an adult early.
You had to be aware. And I believe you said it was 10 years old. That's very young. Andy, I know you want to have a added here because we're so excited. How excited we were to have you.
All right. I just love to listen, and everything you're saying is so spot on, because I didn't. Okay, so my childhood wasn't insane in that way, but I can say I relate in a way as far as the hurt, the anguish, the whole not really understanding a lot as you were, because when I was growing up, I was exposed to things I didn't really understand, and nobody really sat down with me and really explained it to me. So I had to learn on my own as I became an adult, and I realized that things that should have been taught to me about, that wasn't taught to me about, I learned it in such a hard way that unfortunately a lot of those things that ended up hurting me. And because of the anger and the resentment and the hate that I felt, I ended up taking that energy out on the people who actually did care about me. And one thing I said on one thing I said on the Unraveled Influence Extra, I said, which was, when you don't understand, it's hard to figure out which way to go, and it was just such a journey. Like, when you have the proper guidance, unfortunately, it's like you have to discover it on your own. I was exposed to things I didn't understand, so of course, so I guess my question to you is, walk me through that process as far as, like, in your eyes, of course, walk me through that process of when you realize, okay, I have to grow up. Like, can you walk me through that day that you realize, okay, wait, this is a whole different thing. I don't understand, but I got to just go with this flow. I don't know what this is, but what am I doing? Like, can you walk me through that? Because I'm always interested in understanding how that was for a person. I don't know if that question made sense, what I said.
It did. So, and thank you for that question. Thank you for the in-depth questions. I like that. I like when people listen and they give you questions to show them listen. So when I can honestly say my realizations and everything have literally been recent. They've been recent because same as me, same as you. A lot of the stuff I had to learn, I learned the hard way. Some by choice and some just by I was not guided in that way. So a lot of my 20s was rough. My teens I was angry. I was angry at everybody. Everybody. I'm not waiting for you to hurt me. I'm not waiting for you to come stab me. I'm already expecting you to do something, so I keep you at a certain distance. You cannot get no closer because I've been hurt by the closest of closest. So I can't expect any grace from anybody else from a distance. So it got to the point to where honestly the split of it was gradually growing in that direction when I was with my kid's father, but once we split, that's when I really had to sit with myself and like sit with myself and be like, all right, what do we want? Because we are clearly not happy. This is our life. We're not loving anybody right now the way we need to, and we don't even know how to love. So where do we start? Where do we start? I started listening to meditations. I was fasting as well. I was fasting. I wouldn't eat until 12 o'clock noon, and then I wouldn't eat after 7 o'clock. I was in that morning. I wouldn't speak. I would not speak at all. I would listen all the way until noon. I would listen to meditation videos, Les Brown and Maya Angelou, all types of motivational videos. Ralph Smart. Listen to him all morning, and then once I actually spoke, I could speak because I have quality content. I have something to say because I've thought about it. I felt it. I processed it. I analyzed it before I start my day. So I got into that and led with that for a couple months and just kept doing that and just felt so much lighter. My kids were smiling better. I was smiling better. It felt beautiful. And I was like, no, we ain't going back to that shit no more. This is it. Absolutely. So around about 30 is when I started really getting on that path.
Can you walk me? Yeah, I'm sorry, because it's like, this is fascinating.
Because again, I'm really connecting with you on this on such a personal level right now. Going through like that starting of that process right now, and there's no anger in my heart, but it's been a very incredibly hard process, which has made kind of why this week I had to unplug from it all and almost have to choose to take care of myself in this moment because I'm going to go through some dark times. But again, knowing that there's been people who have gone through it, and I got to be honest, Andy, I know he'll laugh at this too. Not just the intermittent fasting, but to be quiet like that, to be silent until noon. That I imagine that's got to be so valuable. But oh my gosh, that's just got to be so hard for somebody like Andy. I don't know if I could do it. But I can imagine.
No, you know what's crazy?
You can.
No, but it's interesting you say that.
Still, wow, that's incredible.
No, it's interesting you say that.
Go ahead, Andy.
No, so it's fine. No, it's interesting you say that because I mean, everybody's walk of life is different. I know for me, I'm just saying for my life, I'm in a season of my life right now where I've noticed I'm becoming very reflective a lot. Where and I have a 4-year-old. He has ASD, and my wife's pretty much doing everything while I'm outside working, so I don't really get to see my son and my wife like that all the time. But it's interesting to me how in this season of reflecting, I'm learning so much about myself that there's certain parts of my temper that I always knew I had a bad temper, but there's certain parts of my temper that I didn't know existed until my son was born. And I'm seeing it now, and it's like, oh, okay. So I believe in God, so I feel like God's taking me, he's trying to show me what it is that because I pretty much, even though my father's passed on, but I feel like he's showing me this is the kind of feelings your father probably went through, but because he grew up at a time that things like that weren't talked about, I'm going to show you what it is. But don't repeat the cycle, but rather break the cycle and to make the cycle better, if that makes sense, you know? So I love that you're saying what you're saying, because one thing I learned about marriage and one thing I learned about just having a child, it teaches you. It puts you in a place that you didn't even know existed, and it puts you into a place where when you start reflecting, you start seeing a lot of yourself. You learn about yourself, and you could choose to leave it there or take that thing that God is trying to show you and tackle it. What are you going to do about that? Are you going to just let it sit there, or are you going to expose it and then use it for the positive so you can use that to be better?
Yep.
Because these generational curses are real. I don't care what anyone says. Generational curses are real.
So
it is real, and it's a beautiful thing that you realize that. It's a beautiful thing, because like you'll hear me say it a lot in this platform, my platform. There's people that die at the age of 16 or 17 that do not get married until they're 80.
Yeah.
We go through these cycles. We go through these life things to where we're supposed to feel this way because it's normal to everybody. We're supposed to do this because society says it's normal. Men aren't supposed to cry. Women are supposed to be automatically submissive. And then on top of it, if there's any trauma, put it under the rug. It'll go away on its own. No, we have to start dealing with stuff at the gate. And to address what you were saying before, I've had those times to where I could not get out of bed. I could not look at myself. I refused to get up. I could not handle the present. It wasn't unwrapping well to me. So I was not trying to do anything.
And I feel like, again, I appreciate having you on tonight. It's like I knew that somebody knew, Andy, that we needed you on tonight because, again, you've gone through a bit. And, again, you said that you've lost your safe haven at such a young age. But I'd like to get into your book really quickly because we really want to showcase all of this amazing person here. And that I believe it's Blue Butterfly Kisses. It came out December 9th, 2022. Is this kind of where we see the meditation, the breakthrough, or is this where we're gonna see, what do we see throughout this journey?
You'll see in this journey me unraveling myself. Sometimes it doesn't make sense. Sometimes it's different stories. Sometimes I'm sad. Sometimes I'm happy. Sometimes I'm fucking horny. Sometimes I'm mysterious. And that's what I was giving different sides in my book. And when I first started, originally I started in erotica because I was learning. That's the biggest thing that I loved about my beginning of my journey. I was learning my sensuality and my feminine. I had neglected it for so long. I was in my masculine trying to get everything done. I gotta do this, gotta do this, gotta do this, gotta do this, gotta do this. And I forgot about being just cute. I forgot about being just light. I forgot my own shine. So when I first started writing again, I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna talk about some erotic stuff. I'm gonna feel comfortable and speak in my sexuality because it's mine. I'm not harming anybody. I'm just speaking. You can choose whether you want to listen. You can choose whether you want to read. You can choose whether you want to buy that book. It's up to you. So I embraced being a bohemian, chic, beautiful African-American woman. I embraced being a sexual being. I embraced being strong. I embraced being sometimes weak. I embraced being sometimes just nothing. I wanted that in that book.
I just
wow.
kind of put this down, like the fact that when you go through a moment like that, like you said, the breaking up of like what you believe, because again, so many of us, I'm going through it again, like 15 years, with 2 children, it's like, holy shit, I never believed it. But again, you go through it and you have to kind of love yourself first, like remind who you are. And when you're alone, that's where you find yourself in. And I believe that. And I'm happy that's what you said, that's what really was the opening of that. Because again, that's what it is. The power comes from taking control of what happened and being okay with what happened. And it's okay to love yourself again and be that. And I think that's really where you echo a lot. Again, that you really do believe in community. And can you talk about the show that you run? Because again, you do another thing too, Andy. This is, again, having that pure vision and having that beautiful goal. I think doing good makes you feel good, and even in the darkest hours. Sharing our art is what is so good to all of us. I know Andy and I, that's what we live for, sharing, our art and your art. So
we have a lot of influence to unravel. Yeah. I just I had to throw the pun in there. I'm sorry.
I had to. You good?
I just want to say one point to what you guys are saying, because I'm just trying to embrace everything you guys are saying. It's so true. So so there's a Bible verse that says, "Be still and know that I'm God." But let's say you put the word God out, right, and we just say, "Be still and know." Right? It's interesting. Be still, right? But how hard is it to be still? And then because when you're still, that's when the reflection comes in. And now, what are we here to know? What are we here to understand? And what do we do about it? And it's so interesting. Like you guys are saying, that's the first thing that came to mind. Like I think being still has to be the most hardest thing to do sometimes. Even for us men, I say this before, I say it every time. We are prideful beings. We don't know when to just shut up sometimes and listen. If we just shut up more and listen more, I think we learn to embrace and understand more. And it's again, it's like what you guys are saying is so powerful, because it's like being still has to be the most hardest thing, but sometimes it's needed. Because it's like we have a closet. I always think about like a closet, right? You have all these cluttering, right? But once you start to declutter, you realize you don't need everything that's in that closet. Because when we start to let go, like let's say you have this in your closet. This is a red picture frame, but it's like once you learn, okay, I don't need this junk anymore, then you make room for new stuff that's more important stuff. But we have to learn how to let go of the stuff we don't need anymore. And just being still in order to know that is sometimes hard. And the fact that you were able to have that moment. One thing that was told to me too was sometimes when the silence gets too loud, that's when it gets very noisy. So it's during the silence that is needed, because a pastor once said, sometimes you have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable, because some things have to get worse to get better. Because once it gets better, then you realize all the worst things you went through was to prepare you for the next season that you're going to step into. So it's just, oh man, I'm sorry. I'm just a whole bunch of stuff coming out.
No, you're vibing.
Oh my God.
Right now. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. That means we're aligned right now in this conversation. Because honestly, it's just like, for example, since it's the newer generation and stuff out here, I want to be able to connect them too. It's just like if your phone storage is full, right? How can you download any updates? How? How can you download any updates if you're at a full capacity of just stuff that you don't even know that's there? You don't even know why it's there. You just let it be there. And we have to also, that's the biggest thing a lot of people have to understand, we have to be accountable for ourselves. I'm still, to this day, struggling with that from times. I am human, and I'm okay with saying that. I have moments. But we have to be accountable for ourselves. Even though this person might make you mad, how did you react? How did you choose to react from that? How did you choose to let yourself feel after that? How did you choose to sit in that feeling? How did you choose to get out of that feeling? And how did you choose to make that better for the next situation when that comes about? It's these things we have to think about too.
Yeah, don't let the sun go down on your anger, I think is what I don't know, that just came to my mind right now, what you're saying, because it's like, it's interesting, because when we fall asleep, and like, if you have so many things going on while you're trying to fall asleep, then you're never going to have peace of mind. I don't know why that just came out of nowhere with that just now, but that just came to mind. It's like,
it totally connects. It was exactly what Lanai was saying earlier about taking some of those things out so you can be clear and feel clear and see clearly.
Yeah.
Yeah. But one thing I feel is like, you know what? It's better to be hurt by truth than to be hurt by lies. Because I think when you get hurt by a lie, it hurts harder than the truth, and it shouldn't be that way. And it sucks. That's what it's come down to sometimes. You know, that's why, like, if we're really being honest with ourselves, we're not always honest with ourselves. And that's where it comes down to, okay, I think it's time for me to have that conversation with myself.
Yeah, but you got to also be mindful too, because as much as we want to, you got to be careful, because not everybody's truth is everybody's truth. Not your truth is not my truth, and my truth is not somebody else's. And you got, it depends on where their truth is coming from. Your truth can either be from healing from a wound or hurting from the wound. So you have to also determine and use your discernment of saying, I see where you're going with this situation. It doesn't necessarily pertain to me, but I feel you. That's where the empathy comes in. I feel what you're going through right now. It doesn't necessarily go with me, but I'm going to be there for you, or I'm going to sit there and rock with you through the situation. That's where you had to go back and forth of either being the ear or the mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Amen.
Wow. Again,
yeah,
so I got to hear about your
lost for words.
Because again, this is incredible. But before I get into that, I just wanted to let you know that from the chat we had full compliments to you for summoning the strength to walk through the fire. Which now, in hindsight, and just look at what an incredibly beautiful person that you are, and again, sharing that message with other people. Because again, you know, we need it from time to time. A lesson we've learned, sometimes we forget, and we have to learn the same lesson. So again, so that Blue Butterfly Kiss is the book that people can get on Amazon. Because again, we want to always highlight the beautiful work that you're doing. Do you have any pieces that we got right now that we can hear from you? And then I want to talk about your show. So we got to hear some of your words. We got to hear some of your incredible stuff that you give to us and your community. And we do have people that I do think want to join us and talk with you. And I think we'll start bringing some people in too, if that's okay.
Yeah, just let us know. Just let us know. Angela, let Angela know. Yeah.
I wanted to make sure we had an opportunity to get through all of the selling points, you know, because again, we want to know when your shows are and how we can be a part of your community. Because again, that's the point. I think we're trying to build the bridge through all these little communities to build a bigger one, because your work and your messages are so important. And Andy, thank you for partnering me.
Yeah, everybody has a story to tell, and it's like we can't be quiet anymore.
So let's hear some of your.
I'm tired of being quiet.
Yeah, because we want to highlight you.
Oh, I love this. I just came from eating some food. I got a full belly and full heart right now. Thank you. This one's called I Found a Butterfly, and this is around the beginning when I really had to just embrace having wings. I've always loved the beauty of a butterfly's process of evolution and elevation. Like how it starts as a pupa, then breaks out of its shell. It then has to eat the shell that has protected it so well, but that had to go. The grip got too tight, you know, trapped, but yet curiosity is the link to life, finishing the shell, and it's off to the races of growth. Eating only the natural things that Mother Nature has originally grown, you know, leaves, green things. Never other bugs, but the nutrition it really needs. Then to a cocoon to marinate from what it has gained so far from existence. To only crack through another shell with beauty against the resistance, although we all know how beautiful a butterfly is. But do you know how this graceful, light creature never knows the magnificence of its own feature? Doesn't that sound familiar? So I say that to say this, for those that go through life stuck in a shell until life breaks your barriers, changing and forcing you to be compelled to finally eat the finer things that treat you well, appreciate each layer of your shell you break, because that's the purpose of life, which is the risk to take. Live through your fears and embrace your beauty. Flow through your life and love it truly, because we never know when the beauty will be gone. The butterfly flies all day long against the breeze with ease and a smile. Yet we complain when our blessings take a while. You have to fight for your spot in this world while dancing in your own color. Love yourself and let your heart touch another. I always love the beauty of the butterfly's process of evolution and elevation. The range of the butterfly's eyes do not allow them to look back. They just focus focus on the destination.
Ooh. Wow.
Thank
Wow.
you.
Oh my
Wow.
gosh! Wow.
Preach.
I just brought
Preach.
this. This is
Preach.
why Andy and I do this. This is why we do this, so we can highlight the amazing guest that
Likewise.
is right here. So
My favorite anyway.
here we go. We have another person who's
Thank
welcome.
you.
Can you introduce yourself and let us know what you want to say to our amazing guest here?
Oh, who we got here? Oh, my bad.
It's okay. I usually talk over everybody. It's okay.
All right. This is Paper Cut right here.
Welcome.
And I'm straight out the DMV. And y'all can call, well, I'm basically a rapper, but the rap is poetry anyway.
Absolutely. Now,
And
quick question for you, sir.
yes.
Quick question. Right now we were highlighting our darling Lanai right now. So, are you wanting to ask her a question or comment with her or chat with her? Because if you're here for the open mic, we got you in like 30 minutes. You first
Yeah,
on
I'm gonna
stage.
do that.
Okay,
Because
cool.
I'm gonna highlight everything that
Absolutely.
Cause basically my whole my whole entire life that I had ups and downs with a lot of situations. And you know, I had ups and downs because I've been bullied a lot as a kid. You know, I had kids in my own neighborhood that didn't like me. They didn't like me because of, they always said I look funny, I act different, things of that nature. And then around 9/11 is when my sister passed. And then when that happened, I didn't know how to handle that type of situation and that anger. And then I was sitting in my own house and God somehow came to me and I wrote my very first song about her in that tragic situation. And then later on, I started, I was always a fan of music just because I've been around a lot of people, friends, my family, things like that. And then, and then later on, I started, I went to this rap event. And then I noticed they was battle rapping. And then and then some told me to try this. So I did it. And then the guy was like, okay, you gotta beat your opponent, then next person out, blase, blase, whatever. So I won like a bunch of times. But like the first time I did it, the guy told me, he was like, if you keep doing this, everybody gonna know who you are. And I'm talking about in the area that I live at. And this actually happened to me. And then I was like, I felt like I can really do this. Like, this is my thing. Cause I ain't good in sports or like that. I ain't really no ball player. I ain't I'm saying no football player. I like that too.
So that's pretty incredible. How quick did that come to you when that spark moment kind of, oh, this is my avenue to take my pain that I've dealt with and turn it into art like this?
I took all of that just came right after my sister died. Because all of that happened right in the same, right in that same time. And then that's when I used it and made it into something. And then later on, I had friends that wanted to do what I was doing, but then I had to kick them to the side because they wasn't trying to go forward. They were so busy trying to rub off for me. And I said, no, I can't have y'all doing this. Like, I'm trying to go forward.
Lanai, can you talk about community in that regards? Because I know that that's kind of what you do is kind of build that community where you're building people are able to speak on their art, their pain, however. Can you speak on that about what you do as far as community wise?
So when I first started the open, before I even started initially calling them open mics, I would just come up on live and just want to talk to people. I was shy at first, like Sheila, I would be on her live, I would be on different people's lives, and I loved the energy so much. I was like, I gotta do this. So once I started exploring that, and actually, and I had my a lot of people behind me that was just like, go do it. You have the space for it. And I started talking to people and actually even expressing what I'm going through. There's one live where I just came up and the topic was do not suffer alone or suffer in silence.
Yeah, exactly.
And ever
I had those sort of things too.
Yeah, and ever since then, I had just been really dabbling into the community because you never know. And the responses, like in the comments, the responses and the DMs from that is what really opened my eyes. Like, wow, people are really hearing what I'm saying. Like, people are really resonating with it, and people are really feeling or healing from it. So at that point, I was like, yeah, I gotta do this. I gotta do this because you never know who is watching. You never know if you're that person's spark, if you're that person's push to do better or to even get help or to get to talk to somebody, to open up. You never know. So ever since then, I've been just wanting to be in the community to help people get their stories out, to help people express themselves. A lot of people gotta check on your strong friends, and sometimes you gotta check on even the people that are not as strong. You have to check on them. I love you too, Sheila. Yeah, you have.
Yeah, Angela, I was gonna say, did you also have people that want to jump in also by any chance, or?
I'm gonna go ahead and drop our guest, our extra friend out, and we'll pull you back up for the open mic that's gonna be starting soon.
Thank you so much for sharing your story, man. I really appreciate that. Like, that was something that we needed to hear that.
So,
thank you, King.
this is so great. This is a kind of new. We've had people wanting to join in, but not so many friends all at once. So here's another guest that we're gonna bring on. Thank you guys for staying in the queue. So yeah, again, of course this is gonna happen where I can't get in now. But hopefully we'll get another friend in. But yeah, go ahead, Andy.
No, I was gonna say, yeah, Instagram does act weird sometimes because I was, sometimes Just Star has that issue with bringing people in. It's just weird, but oh well. Anyway, you're not able to bring people in.
No, I'm just gonna keep bringing somebody in, because we have like 3 people that want to join. I'm trying to get them in first come first serve, but again, the giving people an opportunity to speak and just be in the room sometimes, maybe not speak, but just sit in the room.
I get you. So
that's important to have that place for people.
Wait, so somebody's popping in now, or?
I'm trying, Andy. If they come in, they come in.
If anybody has any issues trying to come in, to the people that are trying to come in, make sure your phone is updated because I noticed that's been a huge issue. If you can't come in, your phone got updated.
I got to be honest. It's just because I'm so green in this. It's because I'm such an amateur. Every time I pull one person in, when I kick them out, I think it's my phone that won't pull the next person in. But Again, we're highlighting you
Wow.
right now, but
Oh,
and everybody, and when Andy starts the car, because again, I like to refer to the person leading as driving the car. That's the metaphor or whatever you want to call it. He never has any issues. He always does a great job.
Oh, oh my God.
Isn't that true, Andy?
So I want because we were talking about your book. So I wanted to ask you what was the process of writing your book? Did you like every piece that's in the book, right? Did you put them in a certain order on purpose? Like how did they can you explain to us the setup of the book? Why did you set it up that way? And how important was it for you to set it up your book the way you did? And what do you look to accomplish with that book as far as the message and the impact that you want your book to have?
So when I went through the titles and everything, it wasn't necessarily in order, but it was like, okay, I would want to see this. It was like love poem, hurt, exploration. I wanted to like randomly do it, but kind of put it in a certain, but I didn't want it to be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I didn't want to do that. But there's no table of contents or anything. So I wanted it to kind of free flow. That's my biggest thing. I love free flow because you get a lot of rawness from free flow. So when I put that together, I was just like, all right, cool. We're gonna put this here. We're gonna put this here. We're gonna put this one over here. Put this over here. Cool. And then just go with that. But the process, I started writing that book last year in May, I think. April or May, and I finished it in December.
Okay.
So it took a while. It was basically, and a lot happened in my life within that time. So it was like the perfect way to start off my first book. I was like, oh yeah, let's just put all this in there. Let's just put all that in there. But yeah, it was a process. It was definitely my me watching my wings flow and just come out once I basically put the book together. I was like, oh my gosh.
So I got a question because you talk about the wings part, and this is metaphorically speaking.
Mm-hmm.
So you know how I don't know if it's movies or shows, but you know that story of I guess these stories that there's always been told different aspects of it where they say, oh, you have to earn your wings, you have to work for your wings, and when you finally get the wings, I guess my question to you is, once you were able to grow your wings and to start flying, can you walk me through the process of, okay, I'm going to start walking, like to get the momentum so I can start flying and to flourish. So can you walk me through that process of the walking, to getting the momentum so you can start spreading your wings? So when you fly, you're not on the ground anymore type thing. Can you walk me through that process of that? Metaphorically speaking, how did that work out for you in your eyes?
Oh my goodness, that's a wonderful question. I started walking in the mud.
Oh wow!
I started walking in the mud, and I got stuck sometimes. I couldn't figure out how the hell to get out this mud. It was clinging to my legs. It wouldn't let go. There was bugs biting me. I was tired of it. So I was going through like the separation of my kid's father as well as the separation of myself. Because when I left him, when we separated, let's say that. When we separated, that part of me was with him. It wasn't me anymore. So I had to get up out the mud and figure out, clean my feet, figure out what I'm doing, clean myself out, figure out what size shoe I am. I had to resize myself to myself. I had to resize myself. And it was I went through situationships to where I was still learning what I like, how I want to love, how I want to be loved. And I went through a lot of different, I met new people. I lost some people as well, because I realized I had to set boundaries for myself. I wasn't setting boundaries at all. I was basically come one, come all. Come on, come all. I want to love all of you. And even if you hurt me, it's okay. I just want to make sure you're loved. So I just learned how to set my own boundaries. I had to learn how to sit there and appreciate myself, taking myself out on dates. Just going by myself. I'd be at BJ's with a whole pizza right in front of me. Just, can I get the lavender drink, please? With some Cheetos. Like, I would have my own dates loving myself because I want the projection of loving me so that way when somebody comes to me, they see exactly what I need them to know. They see exactly what I need them to do. they don't have to question nothing. And then you can also see if you want to be in my life, if you want to deal with me. But I had to learn those boundaries because there's some people that will see that light and be like, ooh, that's pretty. And try to either burn out the light or absorb it or take it or misrepresent it or change the light. And that's another thing too. I had to understand my dark side too. I had to get with her real quick. I had to get to know her because she was the wounded inner child that was trying to get love. I had to heal her. I had to understand my dark is not something of negative. My dark is not something of evil. It's basically my protection. When I get hurt or wounded, I had to put that side out because obviously my boundaries were not in your perspective. My boundaries were not in your eyesight. And my boundaries were not in your heart. So therefore you have to get this dark because you abused my life. So that process was just, it was like basically you turn the lights on and off, put rain back and forth until I can consistently keep the light on myself.
Wow. That is wow, very profound. As you're speaking, I was thinking about a lot of stuff that was running through my head. I like to dissect things. So I thought about like a biblical sense as far as like the walls of Jericho, where like whatever that wall is, and, you know, because we all have walls within ourselves, and sometimes we need them. But the issue with the walls is there's certain walls that if it's too thick, then the boundaries we set sometimes might be, I don't want to say it's for the wrong reasons, but rather every brick represents like a hurt, a pain, or a lie that was that hurt us that much that those things built the wall. So I was thinking about how sometimes we have to allow some of those walls to get knocked over. So the boundaries we do set are the walls we have to have.
Andy, that's a really
within
good point.
ourselves.
That brings me to a question too, is about loving yourself and taking yourself out on those dates. Also, we have a comment here that just from the chat that I want to make sure was put out there.
Yes,
love
please.
How transparent you are. It's beautiful to see people living in their truth and using their testimony to be light. And definitely recognizes you as an absolute queen here tonight, as always. But how difficult was it to actually put yourself out there and to love yourself? Because I feel like that's got to be very difficult, almost guilty, because to choose yourself. Even though you know when the plane goes down, you got to put the oxygen mask over yourself first, but to choose yourself can be very daunting and difficult and guilty. How do you speak on that? Like how do you push through on that message?
I had to learn. I had to give myself grace first. I had to give myself grace because I'm always the type of person. I believe in duality. So if I'm giving you respect, I want the same respect. But if I know that you're hurting, I got to consider that I'm hurting too. I have to consider that I go through stuff too. I have to understand that I go through things myself. So as much as consideration, empathy, just so much, I give people a lot. And this is not to boast about myself because I want everybody to do this. I want everybody to give grace. But you have to give grace to yourself first. You can't expect anybody to give you a moment of just grace, sympathy, empathy if you can't give it to yourself because you're telling people you don't deserve it. You're telling people that you don't need it. You don't want it by not giving yourself grace. So I had to sit there and be like, yeah, I'm going to be taking out a date. That's cool. Me, myself, and I go. We go. That's it. And I had to be uncomfortable. It was that uncomfortable. It was that people are looking at me. Either give them a show or just let them look. That's it. And the biggest thing I promote is being graceful with yourself. We beat ourselves up so much naturally. And then on top of it, you got the work, you got society, you got stereotypes, you got certain things that you got to look like, you got certain things you got to say. All that on top of it. Release it. It was never yours. That's why I don't fit you.
We are our own worst enemy.
Yeah, and live your life. This is your life. Like I see it as this basically. When I move, I'm seeing from my eyesight, right? But if somebody were to move in my eyesight, now I'm seeing them in their light. But when they move out, I'm back to my own eyesight. So people come in and out your life, but don't let them stay because you can't tell them to get out the way. Excuse me, I can't see. Your stuff is blocking me. Your light is beautiful. I love it, but it's not what I need at this moment. I appreciate you and I love you, but I need you to be over here for a minute. Stand up for yourself. Stand up for your boundaries. If you don't like it, say it. Because when it happens, you cannot get mad at nobody else because you didn't speak up for yourself.
And I take that, and that's why
I
withdraw from
received
people.
that.
I withdraw from a lot of my friends and my family that love me and care for me and support me, but I know that I'm sitting in my own shit, and I don't want to talk about how I'm sitting in my own shit, so I'd rather just not. And
but you know what? You have to break out of your shell, Angela.
Don't cut yourself.
You got to break out of your shell.
And I do the same thing, believe me. I'm the same type person. I will keep everything away from everybody because I don't want to feel like a burden.
Right.
But all you're doing is holding, you're adding your weight. Your weight went from 5 pounds to now 25. And now you're carrying that basically, but it's different ways. I guess it's more so because I don't want to tell you what to do.
No,
Anything I say is always a suggestion.
It's so important to hear from others.
Find different ways to alleviate that weight. Find different ways that make you smile to where that weight peels off and you don't even know it's off. You're just feeling better. You don't have to worry about, well, you know, I was sad about that. Yes, no, fuck it. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. Alleviate that weight for yourself first, because then somebody else will see that like, look, let me take that off you real quick, Queen. I don't like that weight on you. Let me take that off you real quick. But you have to also, you have to speak. You have to speak, because I'm the same way. I'd rather just keep it to myself so that when nobody judges me, uses it against me, uses it as ammo, or makes it seem like I'm some hopeless person that can't take care of themselves. But that's ego speak.
Yeah,
I've ego and pride.
People have taken so much off of my shoulders, and it's been humbling, and it's been such a blessing. But at the same time, I'm still in the breaking part, so I will get back. But to hear you tonight, we got to hear some more from you. I need to hear another piece from you because believe it or not, we're almost towards the end of our first hour. It's just been such an incredible, so many lessons learned again. And again, what drives me is this here, because this is really what, Andy, I know you believe the same thing, that we are here to hear each other's voices, give you a space to be heard. And you've showcased that through your shows that you do, and also by sharing your lessons through, again, folks, you can get her book, Blue Butterfly Kisses, on Amazon. You definitely better get that, because again, there's going to be so many things important. You got to have it. You got to have that hard copy in your hand. It's summer reading. It's mandatory summer reading. Our first one, right, Andy?
Yeah. No, I concur. Yes. I'm on cloud 9 because it's like it's just so it's just ministering to me, because it's like everything you're saying, everything, this whole conversation, it's just what it's all about, you know. Like when I first rebranded this platform and really decided, okay, I'm gonna really take it more serious this time. And I said, let me get the people I know that's gonna understand the vision of what we want Unraveled Influence to be. This is better than what I imagined, and it's been such a blessing. And when you know, everybody's here, and then people like yourself who contribute to be a part of this movement, I guess, that's what I'm gonna call it a movement. It's a blessing. It's such a blessing. And to what Angela was saying as well, because this month and the middle of last month has been the rough month and a half that I have ever had. And I always tell my wife that the only thing that keeps me sane is this podcast and being home with my son and my wife. That's what keeps me sane. And I was always telling Angela that. Wait, hold on, I'm almost done. Hold on, I'm almost done.
Okay, go ahead. It's just so important, because again, the whole reason we connected is my January 1st, no more shitty years, and this has been the shittiest year. It's been the shittiest year. But
that was the root. No. So that was the roots of this conversation between me and Angela. And we had our first episode of the rebranding with her. And then I was talking to this other guy, this other co-worker, my other co-host, but like he's kind of taking a hiatus right now. But I said, dude, what do you think about this girl, Angela? And then when we had that conversation, hey, do you want to be a part of this movement? And then here we are. It's better than what I thought it was going to be. And it's like, he's been helping me steer this wheel. And that's the honest truth. And like I said, people like you and people like Angela, it's like we need more unity. There's too much. I think if we just drop the weapons already and like let's not forget why we're here in the first place. And I think that's what it is. We got to create this movement of love, prosperity, and just like let's just be together. Let's unify because there's too much hate in this world. There's too much division in this world. We need to just drop the weapons, just drop the bullshit. Let's unite to what we really want to be here for, you know. And I think we're getting there slowly but surely, you know. Again, thank you, just for saying yes to us.
Oh, thank you for reading the comments, Propo. Thank y'all already here. Thank y'all for the love. Be Smoke, thank y'all so much. Like, this is what it's about. This is what feeds my soul. This is what feeds my pen. Every time my ink runs dry, y'all fill it up. This is why I say there's no me without y'all. There's no me without y'all. And I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. And honestly, that new moon we just had recently is kicking everybody's ass. So don't feel bad. May 5th was another moon. It was the flower moon, and that's been kicking my ass too.
Yeah, see, like my wife knows about all that stuff. She's like, "Oh, be careful, babe. It's a full moon today. That's when the crazies come out." Because I work in retail, so it's like I gotta deal with shoplifters. I gotta deal with couponers. I gotta deal with stuff. I'm just like, oh my god. There's just some things to me. It is not that serious, and they make a big thing out of something that's so small. But it's like, okay, Lord, bring me back.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is right there. And hi, Miss Rosie, that's what it is. Because instead of you being like, oh, it's that, you know what? This has nothing to do with me. This is not against me. This is not personally to me. This is just happening for my greater good. Taking those moments and really stepping back outside of yourself and those human emotions, because emotions are emotional motions. You have to go through. You have to. So that's what it's about. So give yourself a pat on the back because you got through that. You did that. You did that. And Queen, you doing it too. You're speaking. You're speaking out. You're talking. Look, I had a fucked up week. I couldn't get. You're speaking. So you're doing everything. You didn't even need me. You did it yourself. You did it yourself.
I needed to hear what you said. No, I needed to hear what you said. And again, it's very difficult because it's hard to be away from work because that feeds my soul, but to be so bad at that place, it just hurts even worse. And to be physically ill on top of it, oh gosh. But still, to know that we're here together and the vibe that we're making, again, because people need their voices heard and people want to share their pain into art, and that's what the beauty of this is.
You have to surround yourself with something that's going to feed your soul for the better. Bad company corrupts good character, so the opposite of that is good company enhances the good character, if that makes sense.
Yep. How do you expect to grow if you surround yourself with dead soil or contaminated soil? You can't. There's no way. There's no way. I'm not going to be a wonderful rose if I got all these weeds around me. It's not going to work. All they're going to do is wrap around me and take away from take away from me, take away from what I want to do. So you gotta tend to your garden. Tend to your garden, please.
You know what? Okay, get out of my head because I was thinking it right now with the garden because I remember my brother was going through a season of just a lot of stuff, and God gave me this word for my brother years ago, and I said you have to look at your garden, right? Because it's like it's like you know, when you go like food distributing, you know, you ever notice you don't see a lot of watermelon in the winter time? Let's say, for example, you see it more towards the summers, or in strawberries you see it more towards the summertime that you do in the you know what I mean. But anyway, the reason why certain things are not going to grow in certain seasons because there's certain things that are out of season, so you have to get rid of those roots of those things to make room for new seeds and new root for that particular season. Because once it flourishes, then now you know, okay, now you're in the season that it has to be. But everything has their seasons. Everything in their garden, you have to pull the roots out because you got to make room for other stuff, that other crops that go for that particular season. Because not everything is appropriate for that exact season.
Absolutely. So I can't
Yes,
believe it. What an
yes.
incredible hour. I want to have you, though. Can you please, let's end the hour with honoring one more time some of your words. And then after you read, we're going to close out. We're going to switch drivers and we're going to continue on with an open mic. And please, everybody that's been with us, we continue to stay with us. We want to hear from you. That's what this is all about tonight. And thank you again. We can't do this without you. And we thank you so much for your time and just being so yes, of course. So wonder. It's been an incredible honor. Thank you so much. What will we be ending with for this hour with tonight?
This one's called The Bottle. The Bottle. So I did kind of struggle with the alcohol problem when I was younger. I used to drink a bottle of wine and a bottle and a half, close to 2 bottles on my own, no problem, just to bottle my emotions because I didn't want to deal with it. So I wrote this poem for this. She's always been there for me with her figure 8 shape, never to be stretched or caved. She saves a spot for me at the bottom to collect myself, exposing reflections of myself while she keeps me wanting for more. Sip, gulp, numbing my tongue and my senses with and every taste of her, the more she fills me, my vision gets hazy. She is a fireball daisy. Her warnings sway like hypnotic hips, hypnotizing me to drink every last drop. I can't stop. She won't let me. Dizzy but satisfied, thinking of all the truth she lets me believe. She dances with me while the words to emotional songs we haven't heard in so long wraps our bodies so strong, intertwining my stomach lining with guilt. I savor her, flavor her, my savior for the moment. She frees me to freely dance like the candlelight projected onto the wall, sacrificing my vulnerability, sacrificing my regrets, sacrificing myself. Nevertheless, sip, gulp. She is almost gone. Heavy on the rocks, bubbles pop. I am falling from the top of her. There is no stopping her. Once she enters me, touching my Pandora's box, she is relentless and sometimes mean, ready to unload chaos and untold dreams within me. I am at the bottom of the bottle. Time to sleep her off.
Wow.
Thank you so much. Wow, Andy.
Thank you.
Oh gosh.
Thank you.
That resonates with me a lot. So I know that feeling because I struggled years ago with alcoholism as well. So I know exactly. Wow.
Again,
And
just
alcoholism
feeling
does run in my family, so I know.
just
Whew,
it's
okay.
just a natural way that we as humans want to, take away the pain and numbing ourselves is just something that's generational that gets passed down, that generational pain that gets passed on and is a way to treat it, But with that, we got to figure out a better way to end without it sounding like a super sad note because we're about to do the open mic. So if you're still with us, thank you again. I cannot thank you enough. Andy, any other parting words for our guests?
No, thank you. Thank you for saying yes and to sharing your story. It's like I always say, everybody has a story to tell. It's about time we stop being quiet and we start speaking out loud. That's all I can say about that. And I'm happy. I felt like this was meant to happen. Like this platform was meant to be rebranded. And I prayed on this for years. I said, Lord, what do you want me to do with it? I feel like I can do good with this. And I feel like this is the confirmation I needed. So thank you. That's all I can say, honestly.
All right. So.